Good afternoon. My name is Rani Sagi, and I am the Power BI SME. I work in the BI section for Fiscal. And today we will be talking about the Fiscal's Power BI platform, the current reports that are in development and also available in production for usage. What are some of our success stories, as well as the future development projects. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the brief history about how Power BI became the reporting platform at Fiscal at this point. Initially, we had Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition as the BI reporting tool. And we collaborated with DGS for some of the OBIE dashboards, as well as built the transparency data for which is currently published in the Open Fiscal platform. Then we implemented the Power BI platform in the year 2019. So we collected all the major reports that are available in PeopleSoft, and we analyzed the requirements in terms of usage. And we started building the KK history reports for departments. And then we regularly add new reports into Power BI, such as the budget to actuals, COVID-19, fund reconciliation, etc. So why did we pick Power BI? So some of the aspects are definitely the cloud-based platform, where you can expand the capabilities in terms of scalability and volume, and the speed of the reports as compared to PeopleSoft, and the flexibility and capabilities beyond PeopleSoft, meaning let's just keep PeopleSoft as the transaction system, and we move the reports and data to a reporting platform where you can perform your analysis and view your metrics in charts and graphs. So that leaves fewer demands on PeopleSoft. That way, the users can execute their transactions and definitely use the reporting platform for reporting itself. The other aspect that we're working on, or what's available, is the self-service analytics, where users with a contributor access can get into Power BI and build their own reports with the data that's available to them. These are some of the capabilities of Power BI. Let's talk about the current Power BI reports. These are the reports that are available in production for user access. And we have the relevant roles as well as job aids published for these reports. That way, users can request access to these reports via their department DADs, which is the designated appointees. So the current reports are expense analytics, which is the transparency data that is published in Open Fiscal, and the KK history summary, as well as the detailed reports, which is built based off of the KK 12 reports for their activity history, the budget to actual reports, and the Fiscal to SEO monthly reconciliation report. This report is not available in PeopleSoft. It is built in Power BI because of the majority of the work that was done manually in the background. So we removed all those processes and automated the report in Power BI, as well as the COVID-19 report, which is tracking all the expenses for based on the project attributes for COVID-19, such as response and contact tracing, etc. So let's take a deep dive into each one of these reports. We'll talk about the sourcing of these reports, what is the data sets that we are using, and some of the information we're publishing, such as the job aids and the roles on these slides, because in the past, users have requested the specific roles that are required for these to gain access to these reports. So expense analytics, the data is sourced from mod accrual and AP transactions along with the vendor data. So the data is published in OpenFiscal. So before we publish the data into OpenFiscal, with a 2-month lag, the users have access to verify the data in Power BI and then adjust or make changes if needed. This is very rare. And that way they have an early on view into their data before it's being published on OpenFiscal for public consumption. And we have listed the job aid and the role that is available on Fiscal's identity self-service for users to request access. Here is a screenshot of the reporting dashboard for expense analytics. In the bottom, there are some tabs which you can see, which is spending charts, summary, details, etc. A typical structure of a Power BI dashboard would be where we have the overview page in the front, and then we have the view of the data with dimensions such as chart fields, etc. So right here you can see in the bottom there's program activity and fund activity. So there's a dimensional view based on the chart fields. And then we move towards the expense details where we have, it's mainly cross-tab data where you have a bunch of columns representing further details and attributes of the report itself and the measures that are available at the transaction level. So the structure of the overview page is you would have your prompts on the left-hand side and the chart. As you can see, this one is talking about the spending charts, and we have a listing of all the data that is coming from mod accrual general ledger. So we want to be clear about the data because users do tend to reconcile with Power BI, with PeopleSoft. Here you can see the chart based on fund, the program groups, the account and year of enactment and budget reference. And the prompts are based off of the BU year and period. So as we move forward into the dashboard pages, it's the similar data, but it gets into the detail form where you can see up to the appropriation level. The next set of reports are the KK history reports. These reports are based off of KK data, as well as all of the submodules, the 9 submodules that we have gathered the data and joined into this data set to provide this very, very highly detailed report. So the department requesters can obtain all of the commitment control activities, including AP, AR, GL, and PO through Power BI. And this is used as a main reconciliation reporting tool in Fiscal. So the reports are KK summary and detail, and the job aid is available, and the role for both to access both the reports is Power BI KK history viewer. Let's take a look at the reports themselves. So this is the KK history summary report, and it's mainly the charts at the group, the program level, and the chart field level. You can see the prompts on the left-hand side that are available, and there are some detail level information available as well as we move into the dashboard pages, the further dashboard pages. This is just a screenshot of the overview page. The next report is the detail report. This report is about 40 columns, if I'm not wrong. And we have all of the chart fields listed as the prompt values, including the ledger details, the source strand information. And we have worked with users in identifying the prompt values to be multi-select or single select. That way we can curate the data better for their reconciliation needs. And this report is one of the highly used reports for reconciling data with Fiscal at the transaction level. Moving on to the budget to actual dashboard. It has 4 different ways to show the report. This budget to actuals is actually similar to, or it can be reconciled to the budget to actuals report in PeopleSoft as well. But this one has the overview, the yearly budget to actuals, monthly actuals, and quarterly expenditure comparison. And these provide an overview and detailed information on the department's budget plan and the encumbrances and expenditure as well. The job aid is listed and the role is Power BI B2A viewer. Again, here is the overview page for budget to actual dashboard. We see the metrics on top, which are the budget, encumbrance, expenditure, and the remaining budget. On the left-hand side, there are the prompts, and you see the charts that are available based off of the chart fields, as well as by fiscal year. The next one is the Fiscal to SEO monthly reconciliation report. This report helps departments with the monthly appropriation of Fiscal to the SEO balances. And basically, it reconciles the department's accounts balances with SEO balances, as well as the year-end deadline. The departments usually verify the accounting records with the source documents maintained by SEO, which is the State Controller's Office. And the role is Power BI Monthly Reconciliation Viewer. Here's a quick look at the screenshot of the overview page of the Fiscal to SEO monthly reconciliation report. It's a cross tab, which is across the year of enactments, the multiple ENYs, the multiple accounts, the multiple chart of accounts, by accounts based on receivables as well as payables, as you can see on the left-hand side, and the prompts that are on top as of with the fund, business unit, fiscal year, and period. The next one is the COVID-19 report. This is related to the mod accrual expenditures, encumbrances, and revenues that are measured based off of the project attributes such as the contract tracing, response, etc. And the role is Power BI COVID-19 viewer. Here's a quick look at that report. A similar structure where we have the charts and the metrics, which is basically the number of projects for this particular BU, or in this case, it is all the BUs for this attribute value listed as the prompt value. And these are the number of BUs, the expenditure, encumbrance, and revenue values, and the charts by BU fund attributes, and also the requested weekly encumbrance and cumulative encumbrance and expenditure, as well as the BU with and without transaction. So across these multiple reports, we've noticed that there are several different measures, several different views that are requested. So we work very closely with users and the subject matter experts in terms of identifying the requirements as well as the usability of the report itself. And we collaborate with them and build this report according to their needs. So until now, we took a look at the current reports that are available in production and for the users, the roles that are available to request access. Let's get into the reports that are currently in development and or pilot phase at this point. The first one is DCRT, which is the Disaster Cost Recovery Tracking Report. We're working very closely with Cal OES to build this report based on the incident ID. Initially, we sourced the data based off of mod accrual, but then the requirements changed, and right now the report is being sourced by KK data. And we're also trying to map the cost categories and other related information, working very closely with that department to put this into production soon enough. The next 4 reports that are AR aging, PO encumbrance, income and expenses, the purchasing data report, which was previously called the Skipper's report. These 4 reports we worked very closely and collaborated with DGS, the Department of General Services, and built these reports for their needs. But initially, when they were built, they were built for statewide consumption, but they were not released. So right now, we're actively working on these reports to make them available for all of the departments so they can request access to these upcoming reports as well. The next aspect is the self-service analytics. We're working on the scalability of our system so we can provide user access to departments. Once they get access as a contributor, they can get into the Power BI system. They can create different reports based on the data set that is available. Currently, we're piloting the budget to actual data set, so departments can build their own reports with that. So let's take a deeper dive into each one of these reports that are currently being built. So AR aging, what is the source of the data? It's basically listing the overdue receivable balances and the aging of the balances. The report shows invoice, debit memo, and credit memo items that are overdue as included in the existing delivered report. Here's a quick look into that report, which has the original amount, credit amount, dispute amount, payment amount, and the balance due, and the charts based on the balance due by fiscal year, the payment amount by fiscal year, and original versus payment amount, and original versus balance due. On the left-hand side, you see the other dashboard pages that are available. There is a view of the data, the aging data based on the customer. There's an AR aging and well as the AR aging details, where we talk about the buckets in terms of, okay, it's been 30 days since this AR needs to be paid out. Moving on to PO encumbrance. This report provides the details of encumbering and balance amount by PO for chart fields such as reporting structure, fund based on a particular year. It will also provide the details for sum of encumbering amount based on supplier, account, as well as reporting structure. Here's a quick look at that report. You see, we have the metrics stacked on the left-hand side, which is the PO encumbrance, invoice amount, and the balance amount. And we have top 10 charts by reporting structure, fund, account, and by PO. And the prompts are available on the top by creation date, fund, year, period, reporting structure, etc. When we look at the menu on the left-hand side, we see all of the dashboard pages that are available, and typically the overview page, and then the supplier view, and then we get into the details based on the fund reporting structure by account and by supplier. So which is pretty close to the transaction level details. That's the PO encumbrance. Let's talk about the purchasing data, which previously was called the Skipper's data. It's available on Cal eProcure. This report tracks the overall total contracting dollars and contracts that are procured by the state of California. So we have the report that is built in Power BI, which looks like this. It has the total spend, and it's the top spend by the top 10 UNSPSC charts and the top 10 suppliers. On the menu on the left-hand side, we take a quick look at what's available in terms of the detailed reports, the past purchases, bidder-related information. So this report has data for the fiscal departments and the non-fiscal departments as well. And it provides data for purchasing data, contracts, as well as the vendor and bidder related data. The next one is the income and expenses data. It has the lower level journal entries for income and expenses that are displayed by, again, chart fields, which is reporting structure, program, fund, and based off of business unit, fiscal year, and accounting period. Here's a quick look into that report. On the left-hand side menu, we have, we can tell that there are 8 dashboard pages, and the structure of these reports are, we have the IND by period and the IND by month, and also the other dimensions are reporting structure by month and by program. So the income and expenses by period show expenses cumulative by until that period, and the income and expenses by month show the expenses and income by that particular individual month. It's not the cumulative, but it's just that one particular month. So the structure is basically, we have the account tree structure on the cross tab on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, we have the drill down graphs based off of reporting structure for this particular report. But if there is a program one on the next dashboard page, the chart will cater to the program tree and it can be drilled down to the lower levels. So those are the current reports that are in development. Let's talk about the future projects. Right now, we're working very closely with some of our SMEs to work on the comprehensive accrual report. Currently, it's in the requirements phase and the analysis phase. Moving on to also pending analysis on resource intensive reports from PeopleSoft. So looking at the DFQ queries, the KK data sets that are available in PeopleSoft that are, causing delays in PeopleSoft or that take longer in PeopleSoft. So what can we do in terms of moving that data sets into Power BI and provide a better user experience? So that's actively being pursued, as well as other requests from users. We work very closely with the Power BI working group, and we have requests from users. So we're always gathering those and based on their needs and prioritization. So these are the upcoming projects in Power BI. So let's talk about celebrations and success stories. So we're very happy to provide a platform where users are have a better user experience in terms of speed and flexibility. So one of the success stories is the monthly reconciliation report. So previously, this report was generated via a cumbersome manual process where multiple people would run multiple queries in PeopleSoft, as well as in the SEO legacy system for each fund, and then input those reported values into different columns in an Excel template. And that basically would take up a lot of time and would cause errors. So basically what we do right now is automates much of this work in Power BI by running the appropriate queries and pre-populating the values in the final report. So this significantly reduces the time spent generating the report and minimizes user errors. So our users are very happy with this particular report for those reasons. And the other success stories are, of course, the KK history detail, where we talked about, it's like 40 columns long, and it would take at least about 30 minutes to retrieve the data in PeopleSoft Whereas the Power BI report, it takes about 2 minutes for the same amount of data to retrieve, and it has a better user experience as well in terms of charts. So the next point is the ability to view multiple PeopleSoft reports in one Power BI dashboard. So how we took a look at the screenshots previously, where you have an executive view with the charts and the metrics and the measures in one dashboard, as well as in the later dashboards, we were talking about how it has the crosstabs and the details up to the transaction level, which provides an analyst view. So with one dashboard, there's several users that are able to pursue their business needs and get answers to the data related questions. So these are some of the aspects which we are very happy about to provide a good customer service. So that's basically the platform, and we talked about the reports that are available. So let's talk about how to gather access to the Fiscal Power BI reporting platform. So we talked about the access provisioning, which it's basically role-based. And these roles are published in the identity self-service of Fiscal. And these are the role names. We have the expense analytics viewer, KK history viewer, P2A viewer, COVID viewer, and the monthly reconciliation viewer. So kindly note that the viewer roles are available and for departments to access, and have a department designee request these roles for you in identity self-service, and we can provide the access. And then once you receive the access, you would go on to Access Fiscal and click on the Business Intelligence button. And of course, if there are any questions, please reach out to fiscalbis@fiscal.ca.gov or open a ticket on ServiceNow, and it will be assigned to the BI group. So that concludes the presentation, and if we have any questions, we can get into them right now.